Welcome to the Cenario podcast, your guide to mental health and well-being. Each episode, we uncover practical tools, discuss expert insights, and explore how supplements can transform your mental health journey. Get ready to learn, grow, and thrive with us.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
You know how sometimes you eat something and like your whole mood just shifts, or you have more energy or less energy? I think we all kind of intuitively know that what we eat affects us in really profound ways, but we don't always know like the specifics.
Right. It can feel kind of mysterious sometimes. Like, how does this food end up actually affecting my brain?
Exactly. So today we're going deep on one specific connection that I think is super fascinating and relevant to all of us, and that's the link between an amino acid called tryptophan and our overall well-being. So we're talking mood, sleep focus, all of that.
Yeah, and we actually came across this really interesting article that breaks down not just why tryptophan matters, but gives a whole guide to food sources. So we're going to dig into that today.
Perfect. So our mission is basically to demystify tryptophan, right? Figure out why it's so important, how it actually works in our bodies, and then most importantly, where can we actually get it from in our diets? Because knowledge is great, but if we don't know how to apply it, it's not that helpful, right?
Exactly. We want this to be really practical, something you can actually take away and use. So let's start with the basics. What is tryptophan and why should we care about it?
Yeah, let's break it down.
Well, tryptophan is an essential amino acid, and essential means our bodies can't make it on their own, and we got to get it from food we eat. And it's crucial because it's like this precursor, a building block for some really important stuff in our brains, especially something you've probably heard of, serotonin.
Oh, yeah, serotonin, the happiness molecule or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's often called the feel-good neurotransmitter because it plays a huge role in regulating our mood, keeping us emotionally balanced.
Okay, so that's why people say things like turkey makes you happy because of the tryptophan-serotonin connection.
Exactly, and it's not just turkey. A lot of foods have it, but that's the idea, and it's not just serotonin either. Tryptophan is also needed to make melatonin.
Melatonin, that's the sleep hormone, right? The one that helps you doze off.
Exactly. So it's impacting both sides of the coin, our daytime mood and our nighttime sleep. Pretty cool, huh?
Double duty. I like it. So we've got mood, we've got sleep. Anything else this wonder molecule does?
Oh, yeah, definitely. This article goes into how tryptophan is also involved in producing niacin, which is vitamin B3, super important for our nervous system.
Right. Vitamin B is always good for energy and focus.
For sure. And beyond that, tryptophan plays a role in regulating appetite and digestion and even supporting a healthy immune system.
Wow. Okay, so it's not just about feeling good. It's kind of like a foundational piece for overall wellness.
Totally. And given how broadly it affects our mental and physical health, making sure we get enough is really essential.
So, okay, we eat something with tryptophan in it, like, say, a handful of almonds. How does that actually translate to, feeling calmer or falling asleep easier? What's the process there?
Great question. So first, it gets absorbed into our bloodstream like any nutrient. But to have that impact on mood and sleep, it needs to get into the brain. And there's this barrier called the blood-brain barrier, very selective about what it lets through.
It's like the brain's bouncer, right? Got to have the right ID.
Exactly. And tryptophan luckily has the right ID, so it crosses over. And once it's in the brain, that's when the magic happens. It gets converted into serotonin.
Okay. But I've heard it's not that simple.
Mm-hmm.
There are other things involved in that conversion too, right?
You're right on the money. The article mentions these things called cofactors, basically. They're like helper nutrients that allow this whole conversion process to happen smoothly. So we're talking iron, magnesium, and a bunch of B vitamins like B6, B2, and B3.
So it's not enough to just eat a ton of turkey or whatever. You also need to make sure you're getting those other nutrients too.
Exactly. It's all about balance, making sure your body has all the tools it needs to actually utilize that tryptophan and do its thing.
Got it. Teamwork makes the dream work, or the mood boost work, or the good night's sleep work, whatever you want to call it.
I like that analogy. So if we are getting enough tryptophan and those cofactor helpers, what can we expect to see in terms of like our mental well-being? What are the actual benefits we might notice?
Yeah, let's get specific.
Well, the article highlights a few key ones. First and foremost, it can really enhance our mood and that emotional resilience we all need to navigate life's ups and downs.
So less reactive, less likely to spiral into negativity when things get tough.
Yeah, exactly. More able to kind of roll with the punches. And it also suggests that adequate tryptophan can help reduce feelings of anxiety and even some symptoms of depression.
That's huge. I think so many people struggle with anxiety these days.
Absolutely. And beyond that, it can improve memory and cognitive function. So thinking more clearly, remembering things better, and of course, deeper, more restful sleep, thanks to that melatonin production we talked about.
Okay, so mood, sleep, brain power. It's kind of like a triple whammy of benefits.
Right. And we know now that those things are all interconnected. They affect each other. So improving one often has a ripple effect on the others.
Makes sense. So let's dig a little deeper into the sleep aspects. Specifically, how does tryptophan actually help us get those zizzes?
So remember how we said tryptophan gets converted to serotonin in the brain? Well, serotonin then gets converted into melatonin, which is our body's natural sleep signal. It basically tells our body, hey, it's time to wind down, get ready for bed.
And that's why people say things like warm milk before bed helps you sleep better because it has tryptophan.
Exactly. That's the idea. And the article also mentions that eating tryptophan-rich foods in the evening, particularly when paired with things like whole milk or pumpkin seeds, can be especially helpful for promoting sleep.
Pumpkin seeds. That's interesting.
They're actually a really concentrated source of tryptophan, which we'll get into more when we talk about specific foods. But yeah, it's not just warm milk.
Got it. Good to know. I love pumpkin seeds.
And speaking of brain power, you mentioned earlier how tryptophan can help with mental clarity and focus.
Yeah.
How's that work?
Yeah, the article talked about how getting enough tryptophan can potentially reduce brain fog and just make you feel sharper mentally.
Yeah.
It also mentioned benefits for memory and learning, which makes sense if serotonin is involved in all these different brain functions.
Right. It all ties back to serotonin ultimately.
Yeah.
And it's not just our brains that benefit either. Tryptophan also has a calming effect on our nervous system, so it can help reduce those stress signals we all experience sometimes.
Stress signals like that feeling of being wired and on edge all the time.
Exactly. And plus, remember, it's involved in making niacin, which is essential for our metabolism and immune system.
Right. B vitamins are good for so many things.
They really are. And the article also points out this fascinating connection between our gut and our brain. They're constantly communicating with each other, and tryptophan plays a role in supporting that healthy communication.
So it's like a whole system, right? It's not just about one thing in isolation.
Exactly. It's all interconnected. And then there's the whole issue of cravings, which
Okay.
I think a lot of people struggle with. Does tryptophan play a role there too?
Yeah, definitely. The article suggests that it can help stabilize our hunger hormones, which in turn can reduce emotional eating. So those times when you're reaching for the cookies or chips, not because you're actually hungry, but because you're stressed or bored.
Right, or you just need a little mood boost. That's where those cravings can really take over.
Exactly. And it specifically mentions tryptophan being helpful for managing sugar cravings and those late night snacking urges.
Makes sense given its role in mood regulation.
So, okay, we've covered all the good stuff.
Yeah.
What happens when we're not getting enough tryptophan? What are some signs we should look out for?
The article gives a pretty good list, and it might sound familiar based on what we've already talked about. So things like persistent low mood, or even symptoms of depression, feeling anxious or irritable more than usual.
So basically feeling kind of blah and easily agitated.
Yeah, and then also trouble falling asleep or staying asleep. Strong cravings for sugary and carb-heavy foods.
Those are definitely things I experience sometimes.
And then also fatigue or that brain fog we talked about, and even some digestive issues, because remember, the gut and brain are connected.
So if you're noticing a few of these things popping up regularly, it might be worth looking at your tryptophan intake.
Exactly. It could be a sign that you need to bump it up a bit.
Okay, so let's get to the good stuff, the food. Where do we actually find this magical tryptophan? What are the top sources we should be eating?
Let's dive in. The article breaks it down really well, starting with animal-based proteins, which tend to be the most bioavailable sources, meaning our bodies can absorb and use the tryptophan from them most efficiently.
Got it. So what are the superstars in the animal protein category?
Chicken breast is up there. It's lean, high in protein, and a great source of tryptophan. Then there's turkey, which everyone associates with post-Thanksgiving food coma for a reason. It's loaded with tryptophan. And also iron, which we know is important for serotonin production.
Yeah, I always feel super sleepy after a big turkey dinner.
And then eggs are another great choice, especially the yolks. They contain tryptophan and also those other vitamins needed for serotonin synthesis.
I love eggs for breakfast. That's a good one.
Definitely. And lastly, don't forget fatty fish like salmon and tuna.
Yeah.
They're not only good sources of tryptophan, but also packed with omega-3 fatty acids, which are super beneficial for the nervous system and reducing inflammation.
So poultry, eggs, fish. Got it.
Yeah.
What about dairy? Is that a good source of tryptophan?
Definitely dairy can be great, especially for boosting melatonin production, so it's a good choice for evening meals or before bed.
Makes sense.
So whole milk, or what they call fat milk in the article is a good one, provides tryptophan, calcium, and vitamin D, all important for mental well-being. Cheese is another good option, especially cheddar Swiss mozzarella. They contain tryptophan and calcium, which is thought to help the brain utilize tryptophan better.
Okay, I'm seeing a cheese and cracker snack in my future.
And then yogurt, especially Greek yogurt, is fantastic. It provides tryptophan and also probiotics, which are good for that gut-brain connection we talked about.
So yogurt before bed, maybe?
Could be a good strategy. And then, of course, they mention whole milk again as that classic bedtime drink that can promote sleep.
So we've got our animal-based sources covered. What about for those of us who are vegan or vegetarian? Are there good plant-based sources of tryptophan?
Absolutely. There are lots of options. Tofu and tempeh, which are made from soybeans, are both good sources. They're rich in tryptophan, plus other essential amino acids and minerals like iron and calcium.
Good to know.
Then there's lentils and chickpeas. They're also good sources of tryptophan, and while the article groups them with soy-based proteins, it's worth noting that they're actually legumes.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. They're in a different category altogether.
Exactly, and they're great sources of protein and fiber, too. And then there's quinoa. It's a complete protein, meaning it contains all the essential amino acids, and it's super versatile in the kitchen.
I love quinoa. It's so easy to cook with.
Totally. So those are some great plant-based options. And then we've got the nuts and seeds category, which are small but mighty when it comes to tryptophan.
Yeah, those are good for snacking, so let's hear about those.
Oh, so pumpkin seeds are a standout. They're actually one of the most concentrated plant-based sources of tryptophan. Plus, they're full of magnesium and zinc, which are both crucial for serotonin production.
Okay, pumpkin seeds noted. I'm a big fan of those anyway.
Then we've got almonds. They offer tryptophan, magnesium, and healthy fats, which can help calm the nervous system.
Good to know.
Sunflower seeds provide tryptophan and B vitamins, which are important for mood regulation and neurotransmitter production.
And sunflower seeds are delicious, so that's a win-win.
Exactly. And then cashews contain tryptophan and zinc, which is important for serotonin metabolism and immune function.
Wow. Okay. Lots of good choices there, but it sounds like pumpkin seeds are the real MVP.
Definitely, the article highlights them as being super concentrated, so if you're looking for a plant-based source, that's a good one to focus on.
Okay, noted. So moving on to whole grains.
Mm-hmm.
What's the deal with those, and how do they relate to tryptophan?
So whole grains are interesting because they can actually help tryptophan get to the brain more easily. It has to do with how they affect our insulin levels.
Insulin, that's the hormone that regulates blood sugar. Right.
Exactly. So when we eat carbohydrates, it triggers the release of insulin, which helps clear other amino acids from our bloodstream, and that makes it easier for tryptophan to cross that blood-brain barrier we talked about earlier.
Ah, so it's like the carbs create a clear path for the tryptophan to get where it needs to go.
Exactly. They're like the VIP escort.
I like it. So what are some good whole grains to pair with our tryptophan-rich foods?
Oats are a great choice. They provide those complex carbs that help with absorption, especially when you combine them with a protein source like yogurt or milk.
Oatmeal with milk and some nuts and seeds. That sounds like a winning combo.
Definitely. Then there's brown rice, another good one to pair with beans or chicken for a mood-boosting meal.
Lots of good options.
And barley is another good choice. It's high in fiber, so it supports gut health, which we know is important for serotonin balance.
So we've got our protein sources, our dairy, our plant-based options, nuts and seeds, whole grains. What about fruits and vegetables? Do those play a role?
They do. Even though they might not be the highest in tryptophan themselves, they provide those crucial cofactors, those vitamins and minerals that help our bodies convert tryptophan into serotonin and melatonin.
Right. So it's all about eating a balanced diet, not just focusing on one thing in isolation.
Exactly. Fruits and vegetables are like the supporting cast. They might not be the lead actor, but they're essential for the whole production to work.
Love that analogy. So we've got a good idea of what to eat. Are there any tips for making sure we're getting the most out of the tryptophan we consume?
Yes, definitely. The article has some great advice. First, it reiterates that pairing tryptophan-rich foods with carbohydrates is key for absorption. So things like turkey with sweet potatoes, or that oatmeal with milk and nuts and seeds we talked about.
Makes sense.
And then don't forget about those cofactors. Make sure you're getting enough magnesium, iron, and B vitamins through a diverse diet. And then staying hydrated is important, and limiting alcohol and excess sugar, as those can mess with serotonin balance. Regular exercise is another great way to boost serotonin naturally.
Always good advice.
And lastly, the article stresses the importance of focusing on whole, unprocessed foods. They provide so much more than just tryptophan. They give you fiber, antioxidants, healthy fats, all of which contribute to a healthier brain and body.
So it's really about a holistic approach, right? Looking at the big picture.
Exactly. It's not just about one magic bullet. It's about nourishing your body with a variety of good stuff.
Now let's talk about supplements for a minute. We often hear about L-Tryptophan and 5-HTP as supplements for mood and sleep. When might those be worth considering?
The article acknowledges that while getting tryptophan from food is the ideal way to go, sometimes supplements can be helpful. They offer a more direct route to boosting serotonin and melatonin, which can be beneficial for some people, especially if they're struggling with persistent issues.
So like if you've tried making dietary changes and you're still not seeing improvements.
Yeah, exactly. And some of the potential benefits they highlight are things like supporting emotional balance, reducing anxiety, improving sleep quality by increasing melatonin production, helping manage cravings, and supporting the nervous system during times of stress.
So basically all the things we've been talking about.
Right, exactly. But just in a more concentrated form.
Got it. So who might benefit from exploring supplements?
The article suggests that people who might not be getting enough tryptophan from their diet for whatever reason, so maybe they have a very restrictive plant-based diet, or they're just not eating a lot of protein in general.
Or maybe they have a medical condition that affects their absorption of nutrients.
That's a good point, too. Yeah, and then people who are dealing with a lot of chronic stress or who are having really persistent sleep problems might also find them helpful, and then also anyone who's just looking for an extra boost in mental clarity and focus.
So it's really important to talk to your doctor before starting any supplements, right? Especially if you're on any medications.
Absolutely. That article really emphasizes that supplements should be used to complement a healthy diet, not replace it. And it's crucial to talk to your doctor first, especially if you're taking antidepressants, because combining those with tryptophan supplements can increase the risk of something called serotonin syndrome, which can be serious.
Yeah, definitely better to be safe than sorry.
Always a good rule of thumb.
So as we wrap up this tryptophan deep dive, what's the main takeaway for our listeners?
I think the big takeaway is that food really does have the power to impact how we feel, how we think, and how well we sleep, and that incorporating more tryptophan-rich foods into our diets can be a really simple but effective way to support our overall well-being.
Yeah, it's empowering to know that we have some control over these things.
Absolutely, and it doesn't have to be complicated. It's about making gradual, sustainable changes and seeing what works for you.
Exactly. So as you're listening to this, think about which of these foods we've talked about you could realistically add to your meals or snacks. Maybe it's having eggs for breakfast more often, or adding some pumpkin seeds to your yogurt, or just being more mindful about including protein at every meal.
And pay attention to how those small changes make you feel.
Right. Do you notice a difference in your mood, your energy levels, your sleep quality? It might be surprising how much of an impact something as simple as food can have.
It's definitely food for thought.
That's a good one. Okay, thanks so much for joining me for this deep dive on tryptophan. I hope you learned some valuable tips and that you'll be able to use this information to boost your well-being in all areas of your life. Until next time, take care.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to the Cenario podcast. Don't forget to visit Cenario.com for more expert tips, articles, and supplements designed to support your mental health. If you enjoyed this episode, remember to subscribe and share it with a friend. Until next time, take care of yourself.